This recipe might very well be the greatest of all time. And since I posted the Goatober celebrations video from Aripo, people have been asking for this Guinness Goat recipe. But fun fact, this is a recipe that I actually developed for Emily last year when we did some Guinness inspired recipes on the channel. But since then, I've tweaked it and this is the latest version of that recipe. And for the aromatics, we're using the usual suspects, the onion, the garlic and ginger. And for the herbs, I'm using a whole lot of celery and some chive. And I'm also using a whole scotch bonnet pepper in there for some heat. Now the secret to getting great flavor in this goat, outside of the great taste of Guinness of course, is my special spice blend. This particular blend for this recipe are using coriander seeds, jeera, pimento, allspice berries or cinnamon, also toasting them in a pan to release the flavor and then grinding them in a mortar and pestle into a powder. And this spice blend is going to add a whole layer of rich flavor to this dish that really takes this goat to a whole other level. I have 2 pounds of fresh goat here that I'm using and I'm seasoning that with some salt and black pepper and our spice blend and adding some garlic, ginger, chive and celery. And you want to get your hands in there and really massage the herbs and spices into the goat, making sure that every piece gets the attention it deserves. You want to set this aside and continue to work on the dish. Into a pot, add some oil and then add 2 large chopped onions or 4 medium-sized onions. Now we all know that Guinness has that bold, some might say bitter flavor. So to mellow it out, I sweaten the onions to bring out the sweetness that caramelized onions are known for. We're developing natural sweetness here instead of adding sugar. You're going to reduce the heat to low and allow the onions to cook low and slow until they are browned. This should take about 10 to 15 minutes. Don't rush this, let it cook low and slow. And once the onions are cooked, you want to remove them from the pot. Now you want to turn your heat back up to high and add the goat. Add the scotch bonnet pepper and the onions and you want to toss that. And once all the ingredients are well combined, cover the pot and allow it to cook for about 15 minutes. At this point, the goat would have sprung its own water and then dried down a bit. This part is very important as it allows the flavors of the aromatics, the spices and the herbs to begin to penetrate the meat. Add a splash of roku and then you want to add 2 bottles of Guinness. You want to cover and allow to simmer for 30 minutes on low heat. Then you want to add 6 cups of water, cover, and you want to allow this to cook for 1.5 hours, give or take. You want to make sure and check on the goat every 30 minutes or so to make sure that it doesn't dry out. If it does, you want to add a cup of hot water to it to keep it going. Now you'll know the goat is done when the bones start to separate from the meat. At that point, it will be tender. But of course, nothing is stopping it from going in and tasting it to make sure that it cooked completely. And the final step is to add some sweet peppers and allow it to cook for about 1 minute. You definitely don't want to overcook the sweet peppers and get them too soft. They should have that fresh bite to them, which is a nice counterbalance to the deep and rich flavors we developed in the goat. And check out how we look in here. If you could only smell what the rock is cooking here, let me tell you, this is the greatest of all time. A great Guinness goat recipe. Say that fast 10 times. And I have to give a shout out to Melissa who represents the Guinness brand here locally. She was the person responsible for me going to Ireland last year for the Meatopia event. And that's when I really got to taste a whole lot of different dishes using Guinness, infusing Guinness into meat and that kind of thing. That was really a great experience. But I feel like I could go back and cook this in Meatopia and give some of them big chefs some competition. Drop a little thumbs up on the video and comment below if you think your boy should be in the next Meatopia. And of course, I could sit down and just eat a bowl of this Guinness goat by itself, but I decided to make a little jollof rice to go with it. And this was the perfect pairing. The goat was rich in flavor, flavorful and tender, and I ain't going to lie. Editing this video and rewatching this footage actually have my mouth watering for this goat. So, I'm going to cut this edit short and go and look for some bread and cheese or something to eat. If you like this recipe, Please give the video a thumbs up and give it a share. And if you do try it, make sure to post your pictures on social media and tag us in them. Of course, the full recipe is on eatahfoodtt.com, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to do so. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.